And we are live here for round number 1. We've got Brendan Levine on Titan Shift and Scott Crittenton on Ad Nauseam. Should be a pretty interesting matchup. 2 combo decks going at it for round 1. We do have their deck lists in front of us.
2 minutes till? 2 minutes till?
Tell them to start now.
Actually, he said go ahead and start now. Or I'll be
Good. All right, here's Chad here to join me.
Absolutely.
Now, I know who I think has the advantage here. What do you think?
So we're looking at generally two combo decks, right?
Right.
We're going to define them as combo decks. So on the left we have Scott on a personal favorite of mine, Ad Nauseam, and we have Brendan on the right with Titan Shift / Valakut, right?
Yep.
He's not playing the Through the Breach version, it looks like, so he's just straight on the combo. So we're if I'm being completely non-biased, I'm gonna pick a favor. It's Ad Nauseam.
Yeah, I watched them test this matchup last night. Actually, it was.
Oh, so they're on the same testing team, right?
Yeah.
I know that they're regulars. I didn't know if they had been testing this matchup. So Scott on the left is looking to. Do you want to, before they start, explain the combo a little bit?
For Ad Nauseam?
Yeah, I'll explain Titan Shift. You explain Ad Nauseam.
Fair. Okay, so with Ad Nauseam...
As quick as possible.
Yeah. Cast Angel's Grace, cast Ad Nauseam, pick up your deck, throw it at your opponent.
Right.
We'll get into more details as the game goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. If we see it happen on camera.
It.
Brendan's looking to play Scape Shift or Primeval Titan, go search out a Valakut, or a couple of Valakuts, and then he is going to... Brendan's going to be hoping that he can then start playing some mountains. We look at Brendan's hand... Generally, Valakut sees a lot of lands, and he has an engineered explosives. Knowing the matchup, I don't think. You think EE gets there? I mean, it does get there against some of the mana rocks, right?
Yeah, pretty much all it does is knock out the Pennant Prisms, but.
I mean, that's a huge boost to Scott's game, right?
It would hurt Scott, but it's also how. He's got the 4 Pennant Prisms in the deck. He might not even open on one.
But it does look like he took a mulligan here.
The deck mulligans fairly well.
Right, so we have a Spoils, Simeon, Sleight of Hand, Temple. That's a keep.
Insta keep right there.
And hopefully he can get a pretty decent scry off the top. Ooh,
it's
on left. I don't think it's necessary. I think you want to be digging a little deeper.
You say that, but
who's on the play and who's on the draw? Do we know that?
Yeah, I don't know. But
I think if
game 1, I think I keep that in the matchup because
Brendan can only deal a finite number of damage.
Yeah, he generally. His deck deals 18.
Yes.
So...
Ooh,
and he just top-decked combo?
Okay, so he has the combo in hand, but he doesn't have the...
He doesn't have enough mana
The fast mana.
Yeah.
So do you play untapped land Sleight of Hand? I already know Ad Nauseam what Ad Nauseam should do.
That's what I would do, yes.
Right, because you're looking for a Lotus Bloom.
Looks like, yeah.
He's going to opt to scry here, and he's going to get that Phyrexian on life to the bottom. Alright, so Brendan's going to untap with Stomping Grounds. He's going to draw... Let's see... Looks like another land was the draw, typically as it is. He's going to play Steve, Segura Tri-Elder. So good old Steve, he's going to be able to sack that and go search out a basic.
I think I disagree with him playing that land immediately. I think
you want to slide a hand first.
Yeah, he wants the cantrip first in case he draws tap.
But he does have double cantrip.
Okay, that's true, but you still...
You're saying you still just...
You wait to play the land for turn.
Yeah, typically, especially at a tournament like this, we're going to be talking in competitive aspects.
Yeah. It's like, and he drew another cantrip.
Alright.
He's got lands.
Gemstone, you want the Simeon in the deck. He already has the one that's free to use. He wants generally 3 once he picks up his library.
I do think he wants to draw that land, though.
Yeah, the Gemstone Cavern. It looks like he's debating whether or not he puts both on top. The Simeon second from the top. He's going to do that. And he's going to Sleight of Hand.
So he's going to Sleight of Hand. He should be putting the Simeon on the bottom now. And taking the land, but he should have scried it to the bottom then.
Exactly, because then you get to look at a few more cards.
Yeah, he would have gone another card deeper, so that's just another little bit of optimization that Scott's missed out on there.
Exactly. Alright, but he does just have combo in hand. Pentat Prism next turn would be the optimal draw, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
So should Brendan have sacked Steve at the end of that turn, or is he just going to get in here for damage? Right?
Considering his...
I mean, he's going to drop Scott down to 19, so the question's answered, but if you already know you're slower than the other deck, should you not just start ramping? as soon as possible?
He's not going to win that way.
No.
And he knows that.
It looks like Brendan has an Anger of the Gods in hand, or is it a Lightning Bolt?
He main decks Angers.
He does the main deck Lightning Bolt as well.
Yes. But I know he has 2 Angers main deck.
Okay. Drawing one of this Ad Nauseam deck on the left actually used to be mine. I sold it to Brendan, and he was then letting Scott use it. So the basic that he just drew is my personal favorite basic.
This unglued planes, is that what that is?
No, unglued lands in general.
Yeah.
The border just being so rustic, it fits in with Ad Nauseam. Most of the deck has rustic artwork. All right, so we're gonna have another sleight of hand. Looks like Spoil Pact. Pact is pretty good.
That was land Adnos.
Land Adnos?
Yeah, it was a land and another copy of Adnos. I believe that's a fast land in his hand.
Oh yeah, it's a
Dark Shores.
Shores. So he's just naturally finding the mana to do this. Considering the Simian in hand, when are we expecting him to go off?
He keeps playing his land for turn before cantripping and getting punished for it.
Exactly.
Because he played an untapped land, and now he has a land in his hand that's going to come into play tapped.
Exactly. So Brendan's going to be able to crack the fetch. He bolted Scott the previous turn, or right before the end of the turn. Scott's going to go down to 16.
See, looks like he sacked his Steve as well, going to get that mountain.
Yeah. Sheltered Thicket, of course, being a new addition from the new set, the cycle lands. It is both a mountain and a forest in type. So you can actually search it out with your fetches, or you can just cycle it. Alright, Brendan's going to draw for the turn. Looks like now he drew Anger. Alright, we'll see what Brendan wants to do here.
There's a Summoning Pact in his hand, but it's not going to do much for him.
Right. The Summoner's Pact, you side into like one of sideboard green creatures, and then it turns them into multiple copies of the card.
Of course, yeah, the toolbox.
Exactly. Brendan is on a more toolboxy version. You'll see some cards that generally people would play sideboard and mainboard.
Right.
He did very well at last week's PPTQ at Heroes Collectibles.
He did. Was it top 4?
Yes, he was in 3rd place out of 61 people. So, Brendan looking to get a W, but of course this is not the matchup he would like to see round 1.
No, this is not a good matchup for him. Though Scott is not having the fastest start, so...
yeah, due to the reasons that possibly you mentioned.
Yeah.
He could be optimizing his turns better. So here's going to be a Summoner's Pact. We're going to see what Brendan wants to grab. I'm expecting possibly Wood Elves.
He is a huge fan of Wood Elves in this deck.
I'm a fan of Wood Elves too. I've watched him a couple times play, and Wood Elves has actually been a blocker against Affinity.
Yep, there it is.
There's the foil Wood Elves actually helped Brendan pick up earlier this week. It's a foil 9th edition because people were wondering, is Wood Elves even modern legal? There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, and he's going to grab a Cinderglade, an Expedition Cinderglade. Scott clapping because he knows Feature Match does not like that. Because that just looks like any generic card, but I know for certain it is a Cinderglade, and it's going to enter untapped because he controls 2 or more basics. Alright, so Brendan doing a lot to advance his board. He's kind of looking to go off next turn if he draws the right piece, right?
Yep.
He is within range. Of course, if he draws a Prismatic Omen, he is on the Omen version.
Yeah, he does play 2 Prismatic Omens.
Yeah, so if he draws Prismatic Omen, his clock just gets a lot better. Scott.
And there's the land that he should have played last turn.
Temple. Of course, yeah, this is going to be a fairly critiqued round, considering we've both played Ad Nauseam to great success. So
yeah. We'll both enjoy the deck. Let's see. He didn't show us his scry, so we're not sure what it is.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine... Like, he's got the combo, he's got a Spirit Guide.
He's hoping he doesn't die next turn.
Yes.
Because it looks like next turn...
What he should really be digging for here is a second copy of Angel's Grace, I believe.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Angel's Grace would be the optimal card. Pact and Negation would also be optimal, because you get to Pact the win con, and then you get to save yourself with Angel's Grace the next upkeep.
Or if he's got the mana at that point, just win.
Exactly. Alright, so Brendan's going to fetch out what looks like a Stomping Grounds.
Yep. Is that Guild Pack Stomping Ground? Classic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You probably picked those up from us here at Endgames and Hobbies. We typically when shocks and fetches enter the case, they leave within the same day.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I'll go to other shops for PPTQs and whatnot, and I'll see their case, and I'm like, how do you have fetches and shocks? Like, who's not buying these?
Logan Ross hasn't come to see that store yet.
All right, so he's going to pay for Pact, and he's going to Farseek.
Looks like he's setting up. He wants to kill next turn.
Yeah, he wants to kill next turn, but he also just doesn't have Valakut. He doesn't have natural Valakut on the battlefield.
Yeah.
He could be dealing incremental damage, but he's not able to.
And with Ad Nauseam, as long as you're not dead, you don't actually care what your life total is.
Yeah, Scott just wins next turn, if he sequences correctly.
If he's got a land.
Yes, he does have untapped planes.
That's right, he does.
And he has the free Simeon in hand.
Yep, 2 black sources. That's
it. Like, this match should be fairly over.
Especially with Brendan tapped out.
Alright, Scott's going to draw, but the draw doesn't really matter. He's going to snap play the planes, and this should just be combo. There's no reason it should not be. Brendan kind of adjusting. He loves the feature match method, and so he's always accommodating. Alright, so...
Is it a storm counter? One red in the mana pool. Fair.
Yeah.
Angel's Grace.
Angel's Grace.
Ad Nauseam.
Ad Nauseam.
So what's going to happen here is he's going to reveal cards off the top of his library, lose life equal to its CMC, 1 card at a time, and then he can choose to keep going. But because the Angel's Grace saying he can't lose the game this turn,
it doesn't matter.
He's just going to keep going. Pick up the whole deck.
So there's actually some sweet tech since we're going to move into sideboards fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
There's some sweet tech that people were telling me about where you can play like Death Shadow. That's a pyretic ritual.
It is.
You know what that lets you do? It lets you do the lab man win faster, the laboratory maniac win.
Yep.
And so yeah, he's gonna reveal all the cards. But people were telling me you can actually play Death Shadow in your sideboard,
and
then like with Phyrexian, unlike Death Shadow, gets negatively bigger. All right, so Scott's gonna have whole library in hand, and he is gonna be at -1.
A lot.
Yeah, negative a lot. We'll take him down to 0 for reference. Or does he go down to 1?
No, he's negative.
Yeah,
he's absolutely negative.
He should be negative.
I can do that.
Yeah, we actually
the number's way bigger than that.
Yeah, if we could put an infinity symbol, it
would
be generally near probably in the hundreds, right?
No.
No,
the CMC's not that high now. He's probably -40, maybe.
-40? All right. So he's going to search out all of his win conditions and showing us the combo here, which is really nice. And he's going to search out the Pyretic just in case. Because you can really, like I said, you can just go off faster. You don't need... It makes it it makes 2 Simeons do it for you.
Yeah.
Alright.
Slaughter pact on the Wood Elves.
He's sending a message. He's going to slaughter pack the Wood Elves here.
A little bit of BM there.
Alright. And we're going to go Simeon, exiling for red, Pyretic Ritual. Now he has 3 red in his pool, and he's going to cast Lightning Storm. How does Lightning Storm work?
Okay, so this instant has an activated ability. When it is on the stack...
You have to hold priority for this.
You do. You have to play it, hold priority. And discard lands. Each land puts 2 charge counters on this instant. Yes, that's how that works. It's weird.
Yeah.
And each charge counter adds 2 damage to the spell, so it's 3 damage base, and then +2 for each land he discards, essentially.
What can Brendan do?
He can then discard his own land from his hand to redirect the Lightning Storm, which then opens Scott up to discarding another one.
Scott extending to shake hands, as if Brendan's gonna sign the slip right here. All right, so we're gonna talk about sideboards here. First off, we have sideboards in front of us. Tell me what you think Brendan's going to side in. You know Ad Nauseam a little bit better than me, so you may be able to hedge against it. So out of Brendan's sideboard, what are we looking at?
Let's see. He's got a couple of chalices. He's going to bring those in just to turn off the cantrips.
Right.
He doesn't have a whole lot else, though. Yeah, it looks like he's just bringing in the chalices.
Okay.
Maybe
what would you take out?
It might be the Obstinate Bailiffs as well, if he wants to pressure.
Yeah.
But it's unlikely.
What do you think you take out? Farseek? Your slower
Anger of the
combo?
Gods.
Oh, Anger. Right.
It's dead.
Yeah, it's a dead card.
Yeah.
It maybe hits a lab man, but so do your bolts, right?
Exactly.
All right. So we have Scott openly sideboarding. So Scott's siding in 4 Leylines and 2 Thoughtseize because he's going to hedge against the combo matchup.
Right.
And they're both openly sideboarding. Wow. So he's, 2 Chalices, 2 Rex Sages. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And then he's siding out 5 cards, which isn't tournament legal. So he's going to probs keep in the Relic.
Yeah,
cantrips, right?
Yeah.
But the Angers themselves strictly worse cards in this matchup. 4 ley lines versus 2 Thoughtseizes. It's so funny that they're openly sideboarding, but like you said, they did test this matchup, right?
Yeah, they know each other.
It was interesting. We wanted, of course, see if these players do well continuing on into the day, but we wanted to bring y'all a little bit of a wonkier matchup, round 1. Of course, like we were saying, Scott is favored here, so...
Yeah, this matchup, just Ad Nauseam's just a turn and a half faster than Titan Shift. And that's all Ad Nauseam needs.
Exactly. It's the faster combo, but Titan Shift's a little more resilient, seeing a lot more play. We were talking about yesterday. It's gone up in favor.
I think it's a little bit more consistent as well.
Of course, Scott, we see Pintad uses the usual side out.
Frequently, yeah. He doesn't really need it in this matchup.
So he's actually putting that there because, of course, then they know what they're siding in. They're siding out against each other because they tested. But he's putting that there because it is kind of a stopgap to maybe Scott wants to try to side something else out. Scott's staring at spoils here.
Shaving of spoils isn't necessarily wrong. Taking them all out would be, of course. It looks like he's only bringing in 3 ley lines and ignoring the Thoughtseizes.
He's getting rid of the Slaughter Pact, which, I mean, could be good against a Primetime.
It could, yeah. But if Brendan lays down the Primetime...
Scott's in a bad position anyways.
Right.
Scott's been going too slow anyways. Maybe we can get some Lotus Blooms off to spend here. Scott, at the bottom, you can kind of see the corner of a Infect counter. I actually took an Infect counter to a GP that I went to when I was playing Ad Nauseam. Of course, you will need it for Phyrexian Unlife, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
you can use anything to visually represent that, anything that you or your opponent may have. So you could have energy counters, stuff like that. That's completely tournament legal. And I had an opponent who happened to think I was on Infect because of the Infect counter.
And now, keep in mind, Infect was still a deck in Modern at the time, and
it was
Ad
not.
Nauseam's...
It was not.
It wasn't?
G-Probe was banned at the time.
Oh, okay.
So Infect
previously, Infect was Ad Nauseam's worst matchup.
Exactly. And so this guy happened to be on what was like an Esper control or Grixis control, I can't quite remember. But he ended up keeping a removal heavy hand after mulliganing and scrying a Fatal Push to the top.
Because there was an Infect counter on the table.
Because there was an Infect counter on the table. So you can't always take that as an indicator of what your opponent's on. You never should. You should just play the matchup, unknown opponent each time. You'll find yourself keeping better hands. Oh, wait, you know what I mean when I say unknown opponent. What would I mean when I say that?
You sit down at a table, you have no idea what the guy's playing.
Generally,
the
unless
game.
you know them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you should always keep hands as if you don't know the opponent. And you should hedge just good overall hands rather than what's good in the matchup. Of course, moving into sideboards, it gets a little bit different.
Yeah.
You sort of hedge like, okay, is this hand good?
Once you know what they're playing, then you can... You sideboard and you mulligan accordingly, of course.
Are you a shuffler or a cutter?
It goes back and forth.
I generally shuffle, and it's not because of my distrust of people. It's just a safer bet for me.
Yeah, that's true.
It kind of gives you that illusion of more power, even though it is randomization. So Scott mulliganed and still got there.
It's the faster deck.
It is. All right, so he's going to draw his hand. Tempo,
There's a Bloom.
Lotus Bloom, Darkslick Shores,
Combo piece, Pen Prism,
Pintad,
another Ad Nauseam.
I keep. Do you? You don't have cantrip, but you do have sufficient ramp, and it looks like Scott agrees.
Yeah, and that is a Chalice on 0.
Now, what is that going to stop? Just let the people know. Lotus Bloom.
It stops the Lotus Bloom, yeah.
It stops just Lotus Bloom, which Scott actually is opening with this game.
Yep.
As opposed to
and he just top decked the second one.
Brendan giving the thumbs up signal that this is definitely where he wants to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
The choice to Chalice on 0 is very uncommon in Modern, but it was a right decision on Brendan's part.
It was, yeah.
Because Scott would just be so ahead on mana.
If he had chosen to Chalice for 1, which is what I expected,
he wouldn't have hit any cantrips.
Exactly, he wouldn't have done anything.
Scott even sided out of his spoils. Alright, so Brendan having a Search for Tomorrow on Suspend. Suspend cards, counters going down. Scott's going to draw. So now Scott is looking for cantrips.
Yes.
He's going to play this Pentad this turn and just hope that Brendan doesn't have Rex Sage. If Brendan does, Brendan's in a good spot.
Yeah, if he can Rex Stage this Pendant Prism, he's going to be off to the races.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's cracking fetch and response here.
Yes. Going to be keeping up with life totals a lot more than we are in other formats. Alright, Search for Tomorrow. Brendan just shortcutting here, saying, is it okay if I go and grab the other land at this time? Of course, if you're already searching your deck, why shuffle, cut, and then present, they cut, and then
go to your upkeep and
search your deck again, right?
Yeah. Nobody's got time for that.
If you want to be really polite, you can say, do you have any effects during my upkeep? Something like that.
Yeah.
Scott putting 2 counters correctly on that Pentad Prism. You can represent it with a 2, but you generally remove the mana one at a time, unless you're comboing off.
Yeah.
And so he's just letting Brendan know by having the individual counters which mana he's using, and probably telling him what color it is. Alright, so Brendan's going to draw for turn. See a Windswept Heath in his hand. That forest being basically a swamp.
There's a Prismatic Omen.
Oh, so Brendan's the aggressor.
Yeah.
Could this Prismatic Omen... Why does Prismatic Omen make the deck better?
Every land is now a mountain. Every land, including Valakut, triggers Valakut's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's going to get to go off a turn earlier. Scott drawing Simeon for hand, or for turn. At what point do you play the Simeon and start getting in for damage? Because he's in a rough
Not
spot.
yet. Yeah, he is in a rough spot, but I don't think I would even...
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not even going to consider it. Like, if he has to, you might play it out for a chump blocker.
Yeah.
Unlikely, though. Especially if he's got 2 Ad Nauseams in hand.
Now, Brendan correctly playing Prismatic Omen last turn. If he has Rex Sage this turn, because he knew that Scott would not combo off the previous turn.
Mm-hmm.
If he has Rex Sage this turn, then it's going
to get rough.
An amazing play. And Scott, of course, his low spoons are going to come off Suspend. They're going to get countered immediately at the beginning of the next turn. All right. Brendan's just going to pass here. Those are going to come off Suspend. Chalice is going to trigger, counter.
Yep.
Suspend, trigger, counter. Brendan getting in with these. Scott telling him unnecessary. All right, Gemstone Caverns is the draw. So there's also this kind of feel where at what point do you add Nauseam at the end of your opponent's turn to help find more combo?
If that land came into play untapped.
Well, he has one in his hand next turn that will come into play untapped. So he has Simeon, so he can try to find combo.
I do it right now. If he does anything, if Brendan does anything on his turn...
Well, he would have to tap out to do it right now, though.
Yeah.
It would have no effect for him. Brendan's going to play Summoner's Pact.
Ooh.
So this is going to grab a Prime Evil Titan.
That's what I'm expecting.
Double Valakut, right?
Double Valakut, which are in fact mountains.
Is Brendan tapping a Misty Rainforest? Because of the Prismatic Omen.
Prismatic Omen. He can tap for whatever he wants.
I didn't know if it just changed the types or if it changes, you actually just get to tap for those colors.
Because they're those types.
That's awesome.
I learned that back when they printed Murmuring Bosk.
Ah.
It's a forest, but it's also a black-white painland.
Absolutely.
Now, Brendan's not getting his Valakuts yet. It looks like Scott's debating on...
What lands did Brendan grab?
He hasn't grabbed anything yet.
Oh, so Scott is debating on whether or not
Prime
he
Time is still on
responds
the
with
stack.
Ad Nauseam.
He should not.
Right? I would wait to see what number I'm at.
Yes, you find out what your life total is before you cast that Ad Nauseam.
Of course, if he's already done the math here, then. Because Brendan does just go grab double Valakut.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's...
He would take 12, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Because they would see each other enter.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Yeah,
so that's 1 damage to Scott. That's 0 for the Pact.
You have to keep going here. He needs to find an Angel's Grace right now. So he's got the pact to stop the Titan, so he's not going to take any more damage from Brendan, but he needs to keep going with this Ad Nauseam to get an Angel's Grace, so he doesn't die to his own pact.
Taking 3 off the Laboratory Maniac. Taking 1 for the spoils. Taking 0 for the land. 3 for the Phyrexian Unlife.
Oof.
3 for the other Phyrexian Unlife. Land. 0. 0. 2. 1. 1. It's like a counting lesson.
0. 1.
0.
0.
Oh my goodness.
4. He's dead.
Oh man. So died to his own.
Let's see how deep was that Angel's Grace.
Oh.
2 more cards. Wow.
And the Simian itself would have killed him as well. So yeah, he was not able to make it out of that situation. We have a game 3.
That was highly unlikely.
Yeah.
To have to go that deep to find an Angel's Grace.
And that's the thing about any combo deck is sometimes your pieces are just sitting at the bottom.
Yeah, just all 4 of your Ad Nauseams are in the bottom 10 cards of your deck, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, because then you hedge to spoils, and then you just you just lose.
Yeah, exile your whole deck, and you're just done.
Yeah, you accidentally exile win conditions, and Ad Nauseam being actually a pretty skill-intensive combo. There's a lot of I describe it, and correct me if I'm wrong. I describe the deck as playing blackjack. It's like solitaire blackjack.
It's a lot like that, yeah. Because you always want to hit again, but that threat of the bust is there.
Absolutely.
Always there.
Absolutely. So we have a game 3 on our hands. So Scott's going to be on the play. It looks like neither of them are going to change their sideboard. You think that's correct?
Yeah.
There's too many dead cards.
Yeah, they've sideboarded what they can. Brendan doesn't have a lot for the matchup, and he's already brought it in.
Scott is going to double check.
He is, I think, correctly going to get rid of those ley lines, because it just makes his draws a little bit more clunky, and he doesn't really need them.
He also watched one kill him last game.
That is true. He did just die to one off an Ad Nauseam.
He died to a ley line of sanctity. That is something that happened.
Yep.
That is the thing that happened today.
Now, the naked Ad Naus is still probably my favorite play in all of Magic.
Absolutely. Just going for it.
Just playing it to draw some cards.
Yeah. Being extremely powerful draw spell. He's going to side into Thoughtseizes here.
I really think he should just go back to his Game 1 configuration. He doesn't really need a sideboard here.
Right. When I had sideboard notes for this matchup, I actually had for Valakut that maybe you side in like 1 Hercules for the Chalices.
Okay.
But other than that, it is an extremely favored matchup. You just don't go off the combo. So you side out 1 Pentad for 1 Hercules, and that's it.
Looks like he's got Thoughtseize and a Disenchant.
Oh yes, or a Disenchant type effect.
Yeah, that seems fine.
Because it looks like he plays both Hercules and Disenchant, if I'm correct. Yes, 2 Hercules and the 1 of Disenchant. He's playing 2 Gideon of the Trials. That was my addition before I got the deck.
Right.
So Gideon has the pseudo Phyrexian Unlife ability, where you don't lose the game as long as you control Gideon.
Right.
So if you emblem him, the turn he comes out. But he fills that slot of Grave Titan.
Which is what I always played in my sideboard.
Yes, because you have the Liliana thing, but they don't get the Liliana when he's beating face anyways.
Yes.
So you actually get to both be the aggressor and attack if you need to, but you get to zero him and get a Phyrexian Unlife-esque ability.
Yes.
So that I was trying it out and it worked pretty well.
Yeah, it seems
comes
like
down
spicy.
at 3 mana as well.
Yeah. It looks like some spicy tech. I love me some Grave Titan.
Ooh, Lightning Storm in hand. So that's fine against Brendan. It is terrible against any other matchup. Both win conditions.
And Labman, this hand is awful. He needs to mulligan.
Yeah, he needs the mulligan. It's straight lands in both your win
And
conditions.
he agrees. Good.
In any other matchup, especially unknown opponent, they may be on Abzan, something like that. They Thoughtseize you. It's game.
Yeah, it's over. Immediately.
You've lost your win condition. So you typically want those to be in the deck. Spoils being a risky card because sometimes you exile your win condition.
Which is why once the deck started playing spoils, they had to add a second win condition.
Yeah. And I like the addition of Pyretic that the deck is playing, because then your lab
The ritual, yeah. It's Lightning Storm in hand again. and lands.
Wow, but at least a couple scry lands as Simians. He's going to scry
He's
here.
keeping it. Scrying
Yeah,
the top.
I think correctly
Bottom.
keeping, because at least you have enough lands to combo, and you have
Yes.
a couple scry lands, right?
Yeah, he's gonna be able to dig.
The Dark Slick, and he had the Serum Visions, right?
And that was looked like a cantrip off the top.
Oh, okay. Keep the cantrip, bottom the Dreadship Reef, right?
He agrees.
What role does Dreadship Reef typically play in this deck?
In the long grindy matchup, like the control matchup, it's fantastic. Just charging it up, charging it up, charging it up.
Dump all your mana.
Yeah, and then you can just tap 2 lands and get a free ad nauseam at the end of their turn, so you can draw 6 cards and then have enough to go off on your turn through their protection.
Absolutely. So if he sequences correctly, he shouldn't play this land. He will. And he's going to play a Sleight of Hand.
Yep. Now there's land. Well, that's an
Well,
easy
let's-
decision.
Yeah, let's take one of these.
Now, are those Weatherlight or Time Spiral, Time Shifted?
Time shifted.
Ah, that's too bad.
All right, he's gonna play a secondary Sleight of Hand.
Land, ad nos.
Okay, there we go. So we found
decisions
we
again.
found one piece, and we've gone 6 cards deep now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not bad. He's gone deeper than he was able to the first match or the second round. Brendan untapping his forest upside down. That forest typically being actually high dollar. It's from the open house.
Mm-hmm.
They accidentally made them darker than they were supposed to be.
It's a very dark forest.
Yeah.
Actually. So we got a fetch land going.
All right, we'll see if he shocks this turn. Typically gonna
Nope.
get a basic.
Yeah, basic mountain.
Because your shocks can just come down tapped for escape shift and do the work. There's no reason to just unnecessarily shock yourself.
Yeah.
Like his deck's 2 colors. He doesn't have to color fix too often.
Right, and while Scott is playing 3-4 colors, he's not playing a fetch shock. That's the combo.
What card came down there for Brendan?
That is an FNM Sakura Tri-Builder, sir.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah.
Good old Steve.
It's either FNM or an arena promo. I don't remember which.
Oh, awesome. So it looked like Brendan shooting for foiling. But yeah, the more important part, Scott has combo in hand.
He does. He's just looking for mana now.
What does Brendan need to do here? Just be faster, right?
Yeah. He just needs to get lucky.
Yeah.
That Scott has shipped all these lands to the bottom with his scries, and then that's all the lands he's going to get.
Yeah.
Because if Scott continues to just play his land for turn, he can win this fairly easily. And he's already played, 3 cantrips, so even if there's Chalice that comes down, it's not going to hurt him too bad.
Yeah, they did the work that they were supposed to supply.
There's a Lightning Bolt and Brendan off the top.
Brendan's going to get in for one here. He's typically trying to get Scott around the 18 range, right?
Right. Was it Farseek?
Brendan's going to Farseek. I know that promo very well because it came out during the Shockland time in RTR.
Yep, that was the FNM promo.
Absolutely.
At the time.
You could go grab your Shocklands no matter if they're green because the other land type.
Yep.
And the card was just super powerful. It was almost like a fetch land, but in standard. And then they did print fetch lands in standard.
Yeah.
Looks like we have a possible correction. Scott just making sure.
Yeah, it was just double checking the life totals there. And there's a fetch land played and cracked out of Brendan. Are we expecting a basic again?
I believe we should expect a basic.
No.
Oh, Cinderglade.
Alright. He might be out of basics. I didn't see any as he was scrolling through.
He should be playing an influx of basics. Let me look at the deck list here.
Well, he does have, 3?
6 mountains and 3 forests.
6 mountains, 3 forests.
I
I'm just
possibly would
blind.
have gotten a forest there. For escape
Technically,
shift
he got a
purposes.
forest. But you are correct, yeah.
Alright, so
Is he holding Prismatic Omen?
Brendan chalicing from 1.
It's a little late. It does shut off the Angel's Grace, though.
Right.
Which
So
could be an issue. So now Scott is looking for Phyrexian on life.
how's the Phyrexian on life work win? Like how's the win work?
Okay. It's identical, except you have to get a 3-mana enchantment into play first. The card is also... It kind of reads gain 10 life against a lot of aggro matchups.
It's great game 1 against Burn.
Fantastic. And Affinity and just a ton of matchups. And it would have been really good game 1 against Brendan as well, before he brought in his Reclamation Sages.
Yeah.
But it says, you don't lose the game for having less than 1 life. If your life total is 0 or less, if you would take damage, you take infect damage instead.
Yes. And of course, the cards Ad Nauseam and Spoils dealing with loss of life
And not
rather
damage.
than damage.
Yep.
Yeah, Ad Nauseam being the school teacher of the format.
Teaching everybody how to read.
Yeah, exactly.
There's another Ad Nauseam off the top. That is unlucky.
Yeah, he can search out Unlife, but really, he should be afraid that Brendan just combos.
He doesn't have a pack mitigation in hand.
Yeah, in response to the combo, he would have to Ad Nauseam. So he's kind of on the back foot here, waiting for Brendan to do something.
Yes.
The burden of proof is on Brendan. Steve gonna get in there. Is there a reason
There's
why
another Steve.
Sakura Tribe Elder is called Steve? Because I was not in on the memo.
Oh, because it's abbreviated STE. Sakura Tribe Elder. And they just added the Vive at the end.
Oh, okay. Steve.
Yep.
Alright, 18 all, and...
That's a naked Ad Nauseam EOT trying to find the win.
Alright, Gemstone Caverns. See what color he's going to pop it for. He's going to have to remove a counter. Zero. There's the pact. 1. 1. 0. 1. 4.
It's 3.
3. 3. Simian beings. 3. 5.
Woo! This is 0. I believe Brendan's holding Lightning Bolt. He does not want to go to 3. If he's at 4 right now, he needs to stop.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, that pact not being in his hand now, so that doesn't help him against the Lightning Bolt.
Does he have double packed here?
He does, but he is dead on board.
Oh, that's true. He is dead on board.
Or he's not dead on board. He's dead. He gets attacked for 2 on board, and then the Lightning Bolt. No, Chalice counters the bolts.
Oh, you're
Absolutely.
right.
So the Lightning Bolt not actually being the prevalent issue here. But Scott drew and took damage from a lot of one mana cost things.
Which he just needs to be discarding now at end of turn.
Double reading Chalice here. We may have a judge call from Scott just to be particular.
And I wouldn't blame him for it.
Yeah. There's a lot of wonky interactions. We may see a judge call in a feature match today, and we cannot blame the players for that.
If ever in doubt, just raise your hand and yell out.
All right,
That was entirely unintentional. Thank you.
we got first rhyme of the day. Scott trying to hedge what he can do here. I think he's almost contemplating playing the Simian as a blocker. Brendan revealing Lightning Bolt, Rex Sage.
So he does have the Rex Sage. So he's going to have to go off the same turn he plays on life, if he can find an unlife.
Exactly.
Which I believe it has to be the top card of his library right now.
Yeah. Scott's in a very bad position here.
Is he hunting for Disenchant? Is that what he's doing?
Brendan, obviously a player that possibly can be on camera later in the top 8.
Yes.
He just steals these types of tournaments. And it's not for a fault of his own. I mean, let's be honest, he should be losing this match. But but he is on a very toolboxy version of Valakut, and he has adjusted to the format accordingly.
He has, yes. And I think Scott's going through his deck. I think he's going to be...
He's going to scry. He's going to see if the top card is unlife right here. He doesn't have enough mana.
He kept it on top.
Interesting. So he doesn't actually have enough mana to do this.
He can't really do anything anyway. He can't cast any of those 1-drops.
I think he has double red for Lightning Storm, so he can hedge whether or not he can start discarding lands, but he doesn't have enough, it looks like.
Oh, not nearly enough, no.
This is just being a frustrating game for Scott and for us in general. There's some sequencing issues, but for the most part, it just looks like he's not finding the right pieces.
Yeah.
And Ad
This
nauseam,
Chalice is doing work.
yeah, Ad Nauseam is a very good deck. It is very self-defeating.
Yes. Frequently when you lose, you feel like the deck did it to you,
Yeah,
not the other way around.
rather than it was your fault.
Or even your opponent's fault.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, Scott is going to pass turn. He's going to move to discard here.
I would expect to see all those cantrips hitting the graveyard.
He's still thinking about it. He's wondering. Yeah.
That's an easy discard.
He's going to end it. He's going to end this turn.
Looks like that's what he's deciding to keep in his hand. I can't agree with it.
There'd be no reason to keep the Angel's Grace or the Spoils. Unless the top card of his deck was Disenchant.
He does know what the top card of his deck is.
So wait, this may be the interesting interaction. If the one of Disenchant is on the top, I can see why he's keeping specific cards. He's just laying them out blatantly.
He's got to keep the Lightning Storm, right? He cannot go for the Labman win with that Chalice in play. He doesn't have time. Yeah, okay, he's keeping the Lightning Storm.
Angel's Grace, Ad Nauseam. So what are he kept the combo.
He kept the combo.
He kept the Angel's Grace. So is that an indicator of Disenchant being on the top?
It is, but I don't know how much.
But if he disenchants the Chalice, Brendan has Lightning Bolt
But Scott has Pact.
and Angel's Grace. He's gonna Rexage his own Chalice, and then he's gonna
Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt Scott.
Okay, yeah, we allow that to happen, like, immediately. You kept Pact, right, Scott? You have Pact in your hand? Don't you scoop?
What was the interaction here? I think. Oh, did Brendan accidentally play the Lightning Bolt into? He sequenced too fast,
I think he did.
and he played it into his own Chalice. Was the argument?
That looks like game for Scott. He just pulled that right out of his...
Right out of his area.
There's the
Wow.
handshake.
Wow, so Brendan's sequencing incorrectly here. Let's see if I can get Brendan in here to get some of his
Now, his
decisions.
sequencing, I don't think, mattered.
Really?
Scott had Pact.
Scott did have Pact. Okay, so yeah, they're completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get Scott in here.
And if he destroys his own Chalice, that opens up the Angel's Grace. So,
Absolutely. Let me go grab Scott and we'll see if we can get Scott in here.
Alright, that was round one. It's pretty exciting there. Shout out to the chat. What's up, Nick? I see you. I don't think we're going to have time to get him in on the interview here. So I am going to... Let's see, looks like... I believe we're going to take a 10-minute recess, come back at you with round two. Alright, guys.